Begrüßen Sie mit einem herzlichen Applaus Guy Ryder.
Thank you very much, ministers, representatives of the social partners, ladies and gentlemen. Let me say that I'm extremely pleased. I understand I'm the first Director General of the International Labour Organization to have attended one of these World Congresses in recent years. I think it's an absolute necessity for the International Labour Organization to be with you in Frankfurt at this 20th World Congress on Safety and Health. This Congress has been, since the first session in 1955, a unique international forum for the promotion of efforts to reduce work-related accidents and diseases in the world. I was saying to my colleague on the aeroplane here, this is the first time I've been to Germany since June, I said, I wonder if our hosts are going to find a way to make a reference to the World Cup. And I said, I'm sure they will. And very elegantly, you've done so. Why do I say this? Because I believe from what we've seen in this wonderful opening session, in this fantastic menu that Dr. Eichendorff has put before us for the coming days, that after Seoul, after Istanbul, this event at Frankfurt too can be a real world beater. And I encourage you in your efforts to make this a real world beater in the coming days. Friends, I really cannot overstate the importance of this event and of the joint task that we have before us. And if I want to do anything on this occasion, it's to convey to you that the International Labour Organization understands its responsibilities in the field of occupational safety and health. And I give you my commitment that coming forward from this Congress, we will do all that we can do, all that we must do to meet up to our responsibilities in this field. And your Congress here will certainly help us. The ILO's constitution mandates our organization to contribute to the protection of the worker against sickness, against disease, and against injury arising from work. Well, nearly 100 years on, that job is not done, that mandate is not complete. Indeed, we could be forgiven for saying that the task before us remains daunting. Work claims more victims around the globe than does war. An estimated 2.3 million workers die every year from occupational accidents and diseases, with diseases, as we know, being the most frequent, unfortunately, usually the invisible killer. And besides the immeasurable human suffering that fatalities and illness cause, this Congress, of course, must be aware as well of the extraordinary economic costs that failures in occupational safety and health impose upon our societies and upon our enterprises. And we know that that figure amounts to about 4% of global domestic production. Ladies and gentlemen, we operate in a curious paradox. Awareness of occupational safety and health issues, awareness of the costs of failures, I think have never been higher, never been greater. We know what's going on, and we know what needs to be done. And yet, we continue to fail to get the job done. We live with a tolerance of the intolerable and acceptance of the unacceptable. Let me just give you an example. Quite rightly, many of our thoughts at this meeting will turn to the situation of health professionals exposed to the Ebola virus and the lives that have been lost in Africa in particular. And of course, we know that Ebola has already taken over 1,000 lives But we know as well that asbestos-related diseases harvest many more deaths than that. And here's the difference. Ebola makes the headlines as it should. Asbestos doesn't. We live with it. And it sometimes takes a Rana Plaza or a Bhopal or a Seveso to jolt us out of this inactivity. That shouldn't be the case. And that is why I think it is so important that this conference takes this vision of zero fatalities and tries to fashion it into a permanent, not an episodic, a permanent culture of prevention. That's what we're here to aim at. And if over 100 years have not produced a result, that should not lead us to the mistaken idea that the vision of zero fatalities is an illusion or a utopia. It's within our grasp, and we must grasp it. Ladies and gentlemen, we know that the contemporary context in the world of work is tough. As we've heard, the world is struggling to pull out of global economic crisis. We still live with a global jobs crisis. And we're living with intense competitive pressures arising from globalization. We're living with increasing inequality. We're trying to handle massive structural and technological change in our societies, in our global economy. And we're struggling to come up with a sustainable development model that will address all of these challenges. And the point I want to make to you is that occupational safety and health cannot be an additional plug-in to that development model. It must be a central and integral part of that model. And this World Congress, as I have said, provides us with an excellent opportunity to review what is going on in the world of work, what their impact on workers' safety and health is, and what we need to do about it. It offers an excellent platform for a shared vision for sustainable prevention and for finding new ways to improve safety and health governance of the world of work. In the end, the success of this Congress, as Dr. Eickdorff has said, will depend on what we do, what change it provokes. And I think that, as we have heard, the Congress program has been designed with this in mind. It is really encouraging to see the numbers present here, the caliber, the diversity, the expertise that you have all brought to this shared task. Each stakeholder here, I think particularly of the ILO social partners, trade unions and employers, but all of the other professionals, all of the others who are here, have an important contribution to make. And I am extremely confident that you will find this Congress informative, helpful, and productive. And so it does fall to me, and I do it with great conviction, to thank the German Social Accident Insurance, DGUV, for hosting the Congress. I want to thank them and also our friends in ISA, who have worked hard jointly with the ILO itself to make this Congress a reality. And I thank also the sponsors and the speakers for their support, as well as our experts from Finland and from Singapore, who have helped the ILO in the compilation of the global estimates on occupational accidents and diseases. So good luck this week. I can think of fewer more important tasks than the one upon which you are engaged. You can save people's lives, you can change people's lives, you can make a difference. And I close by telling you once again that the ILO, as we go home from Frankfurt, will redouble its efforts, and we rely on you to help us, to push us, to hold us to our responsibilities, to create this world of zero fatalities at work. Good luck, and thank you.
Vielen Dank. Thank you very much, Guy Ryder. Would you kommen Sie ein Stück zu uns rüber? Hi, thank you. Sie haben gerade einige sehr interessante und spannende Aspekte genannt, eben wie viele Menschen immer noch mit nicht ausreichend Schutz leben müssen. Mehr als 70% der Weltbevölkerung haben keinen angemessenen Schutz. Das heißt, wir werden immer globaler, die Welt wird eigentlich immer kleiner, aber trotzdem wird das Problem, was Sicherheit angeht, nicht kleiner. Ist das für Sie einer der Gründe, warum Sie gerade jetzt auch hier sprechen?
Well, absolutely. I think what brought me here to Frankfurt, and I think it's brought everybody in the hall to Frankfurt, is the realization, as I've tried to say, that we are living in a world of work, this globalized world of work which you've described, in which too many people go to work and risk their health and risk their lives at work. And it seems to me that that is a situation which should be and is unacceptable to everybody here, and I believe to people, the general public, at large. I think the positive side of the story is that we know that health and safety, good working conditions, is good business as well. And I think that employers and governments, as well as trade unions, really understand that there's not a downside to this agenda, that every euro, every dollar that is invested in better and safer workplaces actually produces a good economic outturn as well. So, it's good business. What we're about is good business as well as good working conditions. And I think we're all here in a common endeavor.
Thank you. Danke.
Lassen Sie uns noch mal auf die Zahlen zurückkommen. Also während ich jetzt diese Frage stelle, also jede Minute sterben 5 Menschen weltweit an einer Berufskrankheit oder infolge eines Arbeitsunfalles, beziehungsweise 600 verletzen sich oder erleiden eine schwere Verletzung. Leider werden wir das wirklich immer erst gewahr und wir nehmen das wirklich wahr, wenn wir Bilder im Fernsehen sehen, so wie das Zusammenbrechen der Textilfabrik in Bangladesch. Aber was müssen wir tun? Herr Ryder, was wollen Sie von uns, dass wir morgen hier rausgehen aus dem Kongress und sagen, so, und daran arbeiten wir jetzt. Was ist Ihr Wunsch, was wir mitnehmen?
Well, you're absolutely right. Isn't it incredible that appalling tragedy in Bangladesh, it was in April of last year. It's still in our heads. It still calls us to action. And so it should. And by the way, the ILO is working very, very hard in Bangladesh. We have a 24 million project going to make sure that those 3.5 million garment workers in Bangladesh can go to work without fear for their lives. We have to respond to those tragedies. But that's only one part of the story. And what we have to do is create this permanent culture, let me say this, culture of intolerance of dangerous working conditions. And I think it is a cultural question. And we have the instruments to do that. The ILO has conventions to do that. Many countries are working on national programs and policies on safety and health at work. We still have a lot of work to do on data, by the way. We don't have reliable data on accident and diseases. We have to do all of this everyday work. So I think we have to go from the episodic reaction to tragedies to this permanent cultural consciousness that we shouldn't put up with this situation any longer. If so many people were dying or being hurt because of other reasons, I think we'd have stopped it by now. Yeah. So work shouldn't be different.
Vielen herzlichen Dank. Thank you very much for being here.
I'll take the microphone. Yeah.